Okay, in this lecture I am going to talk about spectral characteristics of random processes. Until now, we have discussed random processes in time domain. So the next topic in the logical sequence would be to see if random functions could be dealt with in the frequency domain. You know, in the usual functions, you have seen that the Laplace transforms LT and Fourier transforms makes things very easy, because the use of Fourier transforms and Laplace transforms in the analysis of linear systems is widespread and frequently leads to much saving in labor. That is, the principal reason for the simplification is that the convolution integral of time domain methods is replaced by simple multiplication when frequency domain methods are used. Like in time domain, you have convolution integral, right? In the frequency domain, simply you do the multiplication, that's all. So convolution means, like, let's say x of t convolved with the h of t. The moment you take a Laplace transform, then it becomes x of s times h of s. Okay. So in view of this widespread use of frequency domain methods, it is natural to ask if such methods are still useful when the inputs to the system are random. See, here you have a linear time invariant system LTI, you have deterministic signal, and you have the output. So in such a case, you can simply write output equal to input convolved with the impulse response h of t. Now one can ask, like, the same thing can be still useful when the input is no random signal. Instead of a deterministic signal, if you apply random to the linear time invariant system, then what will happen? So the answer to this question is that the Laplace transforms and Fourier transforms are still useful, okay, but that some modifications are required and that a little more care is necessary in order to avoid pitfalls. So you can take the same LTI system, you can give random in signal as a input, but what you do is you can use Laplace transform or Fourier transform, okay, but with some modifications are required and that a little more care is necessary in order to avoid some pitfalls. Okay, so until now we have talked in the time domain, that is, we have discussed random processes in time domain. The random process evolve in time. When I say time domain, what I mean is, like, it evolves in time. So the function now keep on changes or evolves in time, it goes up to infinity. So we have characterized the random processes by means of autocorrelation function, like Rx of tau, then time autocorrelation function Rx of tau, then cross correlation function, then time cross correlation function, and so on and so forth. And they are all in time domain. Also, we did not consider the spectral properties of this. Okay, we don't know what the spectral properties of this time domain functions. Now the question is, can we do anything in the frequency domain? Because as a communication engineer, we are used to describing things in the time domain as well as in the frequency domain. So we always think in terms of time domain as well as in the frequency domain. When we talked about time domain function, immediately ask ourselves, what is a spectral domain description? What is its spectrum like? But one of the difficulties is that a random time function, we are not guaranteed that it shall be absolutely integrable, because to find the spectral domain representation, you need to go to Fourier transform. So in Fourier transform, the signal should be absolutely integrable, and we don't know whether the random signal will be absolutely integrable, because the random function extends from minus infinity to plus infinity, and any integral that you do, it is not guaranteed that it shall be less than infinity. Let me call this waveform x of t and do the integration, let's say x of t times dt over minus infinity plus infinity, then there is no guarantee that it is less than infinity. Okay, so you cannot say that this integral is going to be less than infinity. Even if it is guaranteed to one sample function, you don't know whether it will be valid for other sample function, because random process contains many waveforms. There are infinite number of waveforms like this. Okay, even if this condition is satisfied for one sample function, we cannot give the guarantee for rest of the sample functions in the random process, and therefore you cannot take the Fourier transform. Okay, so one of the conditions says that it must be absolutely so you cannot take the Fourier transform, and Fourier transform, one of the conditions says that it must be absolutely integrable. So the signal should be absolutely integrable. The other condition is that its energy is finite. Can you guarantee that? You cannot guarantee, because these functions are random. It is unpredictable, and it extends from minus infinity to plus infinity. So what do you do in that case? On the other hand, you are very tempted because of our experience with non-random time functions, that is deterministic time functions. So the only thing that you do is, if I have an infinite length of rope, then I want to at least estimate the properties. So what do? I have a rope like this, and the rope length is minus infinity to plus infinity. Now how do you describe or estimate the properties of this rope? So I want to estimate the properties of this rope. My field of vision is limited. I cannot see from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so I cannot see from minus infinity to plus infinity at one go. So what do? I take a part of the rope. Maybe I'll take one small cross section of the rope. So if somebody wants to sample, let's say the IIIT Tiruchirappalli students, he cannot go and interview everyone, right? What he does is to take several representative samples, one from secondary ACE, and one from third year ACE, and one from final year ACE, and one guy from secondary CAC, and so on and so forth. So this is called sampling. So here also we do the sampling. So this is an artifice. So what I'm going to discuss in this lecture is something called artifice that we do. Okay, so that is, we have the time domain function from minus infinity to plus infinity. The function extends from minus infinity to plus infinity. So I cannot look at the function from minus infinity to plus infinity. In that case, what will I do? I will look at only a particular portion of the signal, let's say minus t to plus t. So that means what? We allow the time function to go through a finite window from, let's say, minus t to plus t. This is minus t and this plus t, and the height is 1. And then since the function has now become limited in time, because it exists from minus t to plus t, it is possible to satisfy the Fourier transformability condition. And not necessarily, in fact, because there might be infinite number of infinite discontinuities. Even in this finite length also, you can have infinite number of discontinuities like this. Say there is a discontinuity here. And here also discontinuity. If you have discontinuity, then you cannot take the Fourier transform. So we say within the window the time function is well behaved, we assume that, so there is no discontinuity and it is absolutely integrable. And then we allow capital T to go to infinity. You first take the Fourier transform and then allow the capital T to go to infinity. That is, after taking the Fourier transform, you allow capital T to go to infinity. And then also now you cannot do that. Why? As soon as you allow t to go to infinity, you violate the condition of existence of Fourier transform, because again the signal becomes absolutely non-integrable. But what we assume is that the random time function are always explained in terms of their statistical averages, that is expectations. So one is Fourier transform of the windowed time function, which integrates with respect to time from capital min t to plus t. So take the function x of t and integrate with respect to t and allow the limit from minus t to plus t. And the expectation integrates over the ensemble. So this is an artifice that we employ, but it does give result. So for an engineer, whatever works is wonderful. We won't care if it violates some of the fundamental things, it works. What we do is we cannot take Fourier transform of a random time function because Fourier transformability is not guaranteed. We guaranteed by passing the function through a window so that you can say the Fourier transform is possible. In other words, what we do is first you take a Fourier transform of any one window function, any one waveform. Because as I said, the random process is, let's say this random process x of t, it has infinite number of waveforms. So among this infinite number of waveforms, you take one waveform and truncate the waveform from minus t to plus t, and then take Fourier transform and also take the expectation later on. Anyway, this I will explain in detail. This is just introduction part. Okay. So and then interchange the operation. Okay. Then instead of taking Fourier transform, first you take expectation and then go to Fourier transform. Okay. So interchange the operation, first expectation and then Fourier transform. So in this derivation you will see that it is possible to get a meaningful quantity in the frequency domain. Obviously not the spectrum, because Fourier transform of x of t does not exist. What you cannot tell is an expression for spectrum density. In Parseval's theorem, please recall from your signals and systems, 1 over 2 pi integral from minus infinity to plus infinity x of omega the whole square times d omega, and in this x of omega mod square was spectral density. We will see that it is possible to introduce the concept of spectral density in the context of time functions also. That is your random process time function also. But you cannot really take the Fourier transform of x of t if x of t is a random function or random processes. The Fourier transformability condition, that is the first one is absolutely integrable. That is it should have finite energy. So the finite energy is not obeyed by random time functions because the function is exist from minus infinity to plus infinity. So you cannot know absolutely integrate, and therefore directly we cannot take Fourier transform for a random waveform. So this is a random waveform, right? For this random waveform directly you cannot take Fourier transform. So the direct transformation approach is not attractive for random waveforms because the Fourier transform may not exist. But if you have a deterministic signal x of t, the spectral properties of x of t is obtained by its Fourier transform x of omega. You take x of t, multiply with e power minus j omega t, then integrate from minus infinity to plus infinity. This is your x of omega. So you can find the spectral properties of x of t. So therefore this x of omega, this function sometimes called simply the spectrum of the signal x of t, deterministic signal. And let's say x of t is a voltage waveform. Then what is the unit of x of omega? The unit of x of omega is volts per hertz. Okay, when x of t is a voltage waveform or voltage function. And this x of omega describes how the relative signal voltage is distributed with the frequency. So you have the frequency axis, how the voltage is distributed with the frequency. At particular frequency what is the voltage, and some other frequency what is the voltage. So it's frequency versus voltage. The Fourier transform can therefore be considered to be a voltage density spectrum applicable to x of t. So this is voltage density spectrum. Okay, and the spectrum x of omega contains both amplitude and phase with respect to frequency. Okay, so therefore x of omega has amplitude as a function of f, then phase as a function of f. For this reason, if x of omega is known, then x of t can be recovered by means of the inverse Fourier transform. We know the inverse Fourier transform, that is x of t is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of x of omega e to the plus j omega t times d omega, and the limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity. So in other words, if x of omega forms a complete description of x of t, or vice versa. So if you know x of omega, then you will come to know completely about x of t. So it's a complete description excuse me complete description of the signal x of t. So if we attempt to use this equation, this transform equation, let me call 1. to a random process x of t, we encounter problems. Let's say we defined a process as a collection of waveforms, right? This is one waveform. The collection may contain infinite number of waveforms. So it is one way of looking at it. So this is a one way of looking at the random process x of t. Now when you take the Fourier transform, what is a Fourier transform? Fourier transform is multiply the function x of t with e power minus j omega t, okay, and then integrate x of t times e power minus j omega t dt, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. And this gives the Fourier transform, as I said. But what are the assumptions in this? There are two assumptions. One is x of t is absolutely integrable. Otherwise, you cannot take Fourier transform. Do you remember the Dirichlet conditions associating with the existence of the Fourier transform? One of the requirement is that the x of t should be absolutely integrable. This one should be absolutely integrable. That means it should be an energy signal. If it is not energy signal, then you cannot take Fourier transform. Okay. If it is a power signal, then you cannot take Fourier transform. So when you are working with a random process, you don't know whether you will be working with an energy signal or a power signal. So this is one difficulty that you need to work with, especially in random processes, because you don't know whether the signal is a power signal or a energy signal, and moreover the signal exists from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, sometimes your functions may be a power signal, sometimes your functions may be an energy signals. But that is the problem that we have also dealt in the context of deterministic signals. So typically whenever you have some signal which is not energy signal, then you get around that by introducing an impulse functions in the frequency domain. Okay, so please, if you recollect this one, so whenever you have some power signal, and if you take Fourier transform, then in the frequency domain expression you encounter with some delta functions, del of omega or omega minus omega naught, something like that. Please recall, suppose if you want to take the Fourier transform of cos omega naught t, then it's a periodic signal and more it's a power signal. So in that you will encounter something del of omega minus omega naught plus del of omega plus omega naught, some constant will come. Okay, so this is one problem. And the second problem is more difficult, conceptually more difficult to handle, because we know the Fourier transform is x of t times e to the minus j omega t and dt and minus infinity to plus infinity. Here for the deterministic case, x of t was a very well defined waveform. Okay, this x of t is very well defined waveform. Okay, but x of t is very well defined mathematical function of time, and then you can take the Fourier transform, so it's very easy. For example, x of t is equal to e power minus alpha t or cos omega naught t. In that case, you can easily take Fourier transform, not a problem. But when you talk about x of t being a random process, you don't know what waveforms you are going to work with. Actually, it is one of infinite number of waveforms. Any one waveform you will get it, and every one of them, even the Fourier transform exists for that waveform, and it would have a different Fourier transform. That is, you have one waveform, second waveform, and one more waveform. Let me call x1 of t, x2 of t, x3 of t. Now take Fourier transform of x1 of t, you will end up with the, let's say, x1 of omega, x2 of omega, you take Fourier, even if Fourier transform exists, x2 of omega, then x3 of t, you take Fourier transform, x3 of omega, it keep on goes because it contains infinite number of waveforms. The random process contains infinite number of waveforms, and this x1 of omega is not equal to x2 of omega is not equal to x3 of omega, and so on, so forth. Therefore, we have different kind of spectrum. X of omega may exist only if you have the mathematical equation for the sample function x of t. So for this sample function I should have mathematical equation, or else I cannot find the Fourier transform. So there are two problems in front of us. One is the waveform x of t should be absolutely summable, and the second problem is we need a mathematical equation or mathematical description for these waveforms. Otherwise you cannot take Fourier transform, and x of omega may not exist. Therefore we cannot use the Fourier transform equation also in this case. So our next job is we need to find the mathematical expression for the random waveforms x of t. So we need to address these two problems. One is it should be absolutely summable, and we need to find the mathematical expression or equation for the random waveforms x of t. These are the two things in front of us we need to consider. So first let us address the problem of absolutely summable. So as I said, the x of t is not absolutely summable because the signal exists from minus infinity to plus infinity. So what you do is, don't take the waveform as it is from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so because you cannot use the Fourier transform in this case when you take from minus infinity to plus infinity. So in that case what you do is, to be able to utilize a Fourier transform, what we do is we take the truncated version of the sample function. You truncate the function between these two limits, minus t to plus t. Therefore multiply x of t by a window function w of t, where the window function is such that it has a finite duration. Let's say w of t, for example, window function could be equal to 1 for let's say minus t less than or equal to small t less than or equal to capital T, and 0 otherwise. If you multiply this window function with your random signal x of t, small x of t, then you will get a truncated waveform. Okay, so it simply means that we are passing the random time function to a window. Its window characteristics like this, minus t to plus t, and in the output side you will get xt of t, truncated version of the waveform. So how do you write mathematically this one? This is u of t plus capital T minus u of t minus capital T. So x of t times w of t, let's call this as the truncated version of the random time function, and the truncated version x suffix capital T of t, and this subscript capital T stands for truncated, as well as half length of the window, because the window length is 2t, and this t indicates half length. And once you have the finite duration signal, then this xt of t can be Fourier transformable. Therefore, the random time signal x of t is converted into an energy signal by this process, by truncation process. So, I am taking one sample function from the random process because the random process contains thousands of waveforms. The random process is an infinite collection of such a sample function. Okay, you pick any one sample function. Okay, some arbitrarily selected sample function from that collection, from infinite number of waveforms. Okay, you pick up one and truncate between minus t to plus t and denote this truncated waveform by xt of t, and this waveform in general x of t. So, xt of t has been guaranteed from x of t by looking at in the interval between minus t and plus t by making 0 outside this interval. So, in this interval it is 0, outside of the interval it becomes 0. So, this artificial construction ensures that even a power signal is converted into an energy signal, because if you take infinite duration, it is a power signal is converted to energy signal. Now, xt x suffix capital T will have finite energy. And therefore, the Fourier transform of xt of t would be defined. So, you can easily define for this Fourier transform. So, somehow what we do is we convert the power signal into energy signal by the process of truncation. And this xt of t denotes a portion of the sample function x of t that exists between minus t to plus t. So, mathematically I can write xt of t equal to x of t, but minus t less than or equal to capital T and 0 otherwise. This is a definition of your truncated random waveform. Now, as long as capital T is finite, we presume that xt of t has a bounded variation and it will satisfy the absolute integrability. Minus t to plus t is less than infinity. Therefore, we can write xt of omega as the Fourier transform of this guy. Xt of t, and this is going to be integration of the truncated waveform xt of t e to the minus j omega t times dt, and the limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity, and this is the usual definition of Fourier transform. Now, obviously this can be written as follows, like since the signal exists from minus t to plus t, I can put the limit from minus t to plus t and x of t times e to the minus j omega t times dt. Now, instead of writing xt of t, you could write x of t within this limit minus t to plus t, and both this integration and this integration both are identical, both are same. Either you take minus infinity to plus infinity, put this xt of t, or you take the signal which exists from minus infinity to plus infinity, but do the integration only from minus t to plus t. Therefore, your final definition xt of omega is equal to integral of minus t to plus t x of t multiplied by e to the minus j omega t times dt. So, this is a definition or Fourier transform of your random signal. So one way is of saying that we can make a Fourier transform of the random time function is to say that instead of integrating over the complete range, that is minus infinity to plus infinity, you integrate over a certain finite range, that is minus t to plus t. And in that sense, sometimes such an integral is also called a finite Fourier transformation. Finite Fourier transformation, or I can say finite Fourier transform, in that is rather appropriate to say. And this is a finite Fourier transform in the sense that the limits are not minus infinity to plus infinity, it is minus capital T to plus capital T. That is why this is called finite Fourier transform. And therefore the value of this integral will not, this one will not only depend on omega, okay, but it will also depend on capital T. So it is a function of both omega and t, and this is what has been written over here, x suffix t of omega. So therefore x t of omega is a function of capital T and omega. And one more thing I want to emphasize here, look at the initial of this words, finite Fourier transform. So don't confuse with f of t. Okay, I don't wish to emphasize on this because the initials are f of t, and usually f of t stands for something else in the literature, that is fast Fourier transform. So don't confuse here. F of t means finite Fourier transform, but in the usual sense in the literature it indicates that fast Fourier transform. So don't get confusion. And the subscript capital T represents half duration, and it is indeed a function of omega. So this is function of omega and capital T. Now if you recall, the Parseval's theorem says that the energy in the time domain is equal to energy in the frequency domain, right? So this is a frequency domain expression, I got it now. So I need to know relate with the time domain expression, right? So I am going to take the help of Parseval's theorem. So this theorem says that energy in time domain is equal to energy in frequency domain. Therefore, the energy contained in x of t in the interval minus t comma t is you take x of t, okay, x square of t, because energy is x square of t, and integrate limit from minus t to plus t. Okay, so you can use xt, or you can say minus t to plus t. This is x of t, x squared of t times dt, or I can say minus infinity to plus infinity xt squared of t times dt. This all are one and the same. Okay, so it is suffice to integrate from minus t to plus t, because the xt of t is 0 outside the range minus t comma plus t. In this range, outside of this range, it is 0 xt of t. So but we shall keep this limit as minus infinity plus infinity. Mostly we will use this notation or this expression. Okay, this expression we will use it. So this is the same as integral of minus t to plus t xt square of times dt. Either you can use this or use this, but let us use this one, okay, hereafter. Since xt of t is Fourier transformable, its energy must also be related to xt of omega, because this is a time domain function, right, time domain, and its equivalent frequency domain is xt of omega that we have seen just some time back. So the energy in the time domain must be related with the energy in the frequency domain. Therefore, you take the help of Parseval's theorem. So the energy in the time domain is minus infinity to plus infinity xt of t squared then dt, which must be equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of xt of omega, Fourier transform of your truncated signal, mod squared times d omega. Do the integration from minus infinity to plus infinity. So what is this? Energy in the time domain, and this one is energy in the frequency domain. Now, what is the dimension of xt of omega mod square? Because the whole thing is energy, right? Therefore, the dimension is going to be energy per hertz. And what is the dimension of d omega by 2 pi? It is simply hertz. Therefore, xt of omega mod square times d omega by 2 pi, which is energy per hertz times hertz. So this and that will get cancelled, and finally will end up with the energy. Therefore, what is this xt of omega mod square is called energy density function. Energy density function, which we have called earlier as spectral density. That is more appropriate to call. So xt of omega mod square equal to energy spectral density. So we shall be concerned not with xt of omega mod square, but modification of this. Okay, so we need to modify this somehow. So we shall define now in the context of random time functions what is known as power spectral density. We are not interested in energy spectral density, but what we want is power spectral density. In short, we say power spectral density. And how do I convert to power? Divided by time, because we know that power equal to voltage into current, like or I can say V square by R. I can say V square or I square if R equal to 1 ohm, right? Therefore, what is energy? Energy equal to power into or power times time. What is power? Power is equal to energy by time. Therefore, you take energy spectral density and divide by time. Okay, and the time duration of the signal is 2t, so divided by 2t, you'll get a power spectral density. So therefore the energy of the time signal is minus infinity to plus infinity xt squared of t times dt. In the right hand side you have 1 by 2 pi integral of minus infinity plus infinity xt of omega whole squared over that's it, no, not over, times d omega. Now this is energy. In order to get power, what do I do? Just divide by 2t, 1 by 2t, and here also 1 by 2t. Now what do I do is I bring 1 by 1 over 2t inside, because this capital T is a constant, right? Bring it inside. So this is going to be 1 over 2 pi xt of omega the whole squared over 2t times d omega. Now in the left hand side, if you notice that if capital T tends to infinity, then what will happen to this left hand side? This is going to be simply the time average of x square of t, time average of the function, or let me denote the time average as x square bar, like this, time average. So this symbol indicates time average. So if capital T tends to infinity, then the left hand side has the interpretation of time average. So as t goes to infinity, then you'll get a time average of the signal x squared of t. Now without capital T going to infinity, then it is 1 over 2t integral of minus t to plus t, or let's say minus infinity to plus infinity xt squared of t times dt, and this also time average of one second, I am sorry, when t goes to infinity, then that is a time average of x of t. If t not goes to infinity, then it is going to be time average of xt of t. So if you don't let t not equal to infinity or not goes to infinity, then what you get? xt squared bar. And if you let t to go to infinity, then you will get this time average. So only when capital T tends to infinity, it will represent the time average of the entire random process. Okay, so whenever you let t goes to infinity, then it represents the time average of entire random processes. Okay, and we are interested in the time average of entire random processes. We are not interested in the time average of a particular duration of your sample function. And in case if the process is ergodic, then the time average will be equal to statistical average or ensemble average. Or I can say statistical. This is only applicable only if the process is ergodic. It shall also represent statistical average. But the main problem is capital T is infinite. It is not no infinite. For example, I'm sorry, for example in this case 1/2t integral of minus infinity to plus infinity xt square of t into dt, and this is equal to xt square bar, and this is xt square bar. This is the if ergodic, and here the duration is only from minus t to plus t. It is not covering the entire sample function. Okay, so the main problem is capital T is finite, it is not infinite in this case. Therefore we cannot say anything about the right hand side of your Parseval's theorem. 1/2t integral of minus infinity to plus infinity xt square of t dt if you don't allow t to go to infinity, then you cannot say anything about the right hand side. So we cannot relate the right hand side to either the time average or ensemble average unless capital T goes to infinity. Okay, but if capital T goes to infinity, then you cannot take Fourier transform. That is another problem. Because if capital T goes to infinity, then this guy will not exist. It will not exist. Will not exist if t goes to infinity. Okay, so there are two problems. One is that the fact that this equation, let me call this is equation number A, does not represent the power in the entire sample function, that is from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so this is the power over minus t2 plus t. It does not give the power over the entire sample function. And second is the fact that this equation gives the power in only one sample function. Okay, because as I said, the random process contains infinite number of sample functions. So this equation tells you the power in only one sample function. Okay, so this equation does not represent the random process x of t, capital X of t, for all sample functions. In other words, this is a random variable. Why is it random variable? For different sample functions, you will get one value. Okay, so let me call this is like a p of t, and that p of t is a random variable because each sample function will give you a different value. You take this function, you will get one value like let's say x1 of t and this x2 of t, and then if you put x suffix 1 square of dt, you will get one value, minus infinity to plus infinity, you will get value 1, and take this guy xt2 times squared of this t minus infinity plus infinity, you will get another value. Like that, for every sample function you will get one different power. Let's say this is power 1, and this is power 2, right? And if you take one more function, and again you will get p3 different powers, because each signal is different from, each sample function is different from other sample function. And so there are two problems in this case. So the first one is this expression does not give the power in an entire sample function, that is from minus infinity to plus infinity. And the second point is it varies from sample function to sample function, and each sample function occurs with a certain probability. Therefore all these powers are considered as a random variable. So what we do is, instead of allowing capital T to go to infinity, now we take the expectation of both sides of that expression. Okay, now you forget about this interpretation, like when t goes to infinity, this you know time average and ensemble, all those things. Okay, let us take the expectation operation on both sides of the equation, this one a. So expected value of 1 over t, that is take the ensemble average of the left hand side and the right hand side, then you get what you get is the following: integral of xt square of t times dt, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity, which is equal to expected value of 1 over 2 pi integral of xt of omega mod square over 2t times d omega, and put like this. And we know expectation and time integration can be interchanged. So you put 1 by 2t integral of minus infinity to plus infinity expectation of xt square of t times dt. So this one will not come, which is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of xt of omega mod square over 2t d omega. Now there is a problem in this step. So I am taking the expectation operation here. Okay, and here I cannot write no xt square of t. Why? Because this small x indicates only one sample function. But when I take expectation, then I need to consider across all the sample functions. Okay, expected value over the random process. So the random process x of t, as I said, it has many waveforms. Like this, it goes up to infinite number of waveforms. I cannot take only one waveform and find the expected value for this. I need to take this waveform, this waveform, this waveform, all waveforms. Therefore, the appropriate way to write this is expected value of capital X of t. So this is random process, not the sample function. Truncated random process xt of t. Okay, so integrate and dt. So 1 over 2t in the left hand side. So put x of t instead of small x suffix t of capital T of t. So if you don't put capital X of t there, then you don't get average power in a random process capital X of t. So in order to get the average power, then you have to put capital X of t, because 1 by t xt square of t times dt, okay, it gives the time average power, right? Contained in one sample function. For duration 2t. And this one gives average power contained in all sample functions. That is ensemble average. This is called ensemble average. ensemble average of x squared of t, or you can also call it statistical average. Okay, therefore the final expression is going to be 1 over 2t integral of xt of omega square root, sorry, this is not omega, this is t, right, not in the frequency domain, which is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of expected value of xt of omega mod square over 2t times d omega. If the process is stationary, then the expected value of here also expected value, the expected value of x square of t, irrespective of value of capital T, even if you trust one sample between minus t to plus t, in the complete random processes and average it over the ensemble, then this is precisely equal to x squared bar. Okay, if the process is stationary, then the expected value, so what do you think this is going to be? You take any value, doesn't matter, you can take t equal to 10 or t equal to 20 seconds or whatever it is, okay, irrespective of value of capital T, okay, and even if you take one sample, or you can take the complete random process, okay, and what you do is you truncate this random process minus t to plus t, and this is my xt of t. Okay, for this what you do, you take a expected value of xt of t square of t. Either you calculate for this segment minus t2 plus t, or you take another segment, let's say minus t12 plus t1, this segment, okay, the expected value for stationary process I am telling you this one, okay, this is equal to x squared bar. Why is that so? Because it is a stationary process, okay, either you take one sample function or all the sample functions in the random process, either you take from minus infinity to plus infinity, that is the beauty of your random process, okay, your stationary process. So you take minus t to plus t or minus t1 to plus t1, you will get this e of xt square of t is equal to x squared bar irrespective of capital T. Even if the window size is from minus t to plus t or minus t1 to plus t1 or something like 0.5 t to plus 0.5 t, doesn't matter, okay. So this is going to be always x squared bar. So therefore this above equation becomes 1 minute, my laptop is draining, iPad is draining off, so I will bring the charger. So That's it. So we are here. Okay, so 1 over 2t integral of minus infinity to plus infinity expected value of xt squared of t into dt is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of expected value of xt of omega mod squared over 2t times d omega. And then we know that this function had existed between minus t to plus t. Instead of between minus infinity to plus infinity, it exists only between minus t to plus t. Therefore 1 by 2t integral I put like this, because this guy existed between minus t to plus t, so that's why I change the limit up. Xt squared of t times dt. This is going to be 1 over 2t, then integral of, and this whole thing just now we said it is always equal to x squared bar times dt, and the limit is minus t to plus t. So this would be equal to 1 over 2t, x squared bar is a constant, and then t, and the limit is minus t to plus t. So it is x squared bar over 2t times 2t, 2 will get cancelled. So this is x squared bar. So the left hand side it is going to be x squared bar. Now as I said, we want to see the power over the entire range from minus infinity to plus infinity. So obviously what you do is take limit t goes to infinity. Limit t goes to infinity, 1 over 2t integral of expected value of xt squared of t times dt, and this is minus t to plus t. Limit t goes to infinity, 1 over 2 pi integral expected value of xt of omega mod square over 2t multiply by d omega, and the limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity. Now just now we proved this is going to be x squared bar. Okay, and if you substitute t, limit t goes to infinity, it is independent. Okay, so this integral becomes independent of capital T. So whether capital T goes to infinity or not, it doesn't matter. Okay, so but let's put t goes to infinity, then the left hand side becomes x squared bar. The right hand side, you take the limit to inside the integration, so 1 over 2 pi integral, and the t is independent of your expectation, so you can take it inside. Limit t goes to infinity, expected value of xt omega squared over 2t d omega. And in the right hand side, take the limit inside the integration, and you will get like this. And it is a very clever way of going into Fourier transform, that is going into the frequency domain. Straight away, if you take t goes to infinity, then you cannot take Fourier transform. The moment you apply some indirect method, then easily you can obtain the relationship between spectral domain and the time domain. Now it is a very reasonable to expect. I can't say it very confidently if it does exist. This one, like say this one, Okay, this quantity will exist, sometimes it may not exist also. Okay, and if this quantity does exist, and it is reasonable to expect that this quantity will exist, it may not, or it may or may not sometimes. Okay, there are random processes where random time functions in which even in a finite interval also you cannot expect. Okay, so you cannot expect this function to exist. So if you divide by 2t and allow t to go to infinity, okay, this guy may or may not exist. Okay, in case if it does exist, in most of the practical case it exists, then this expression gives beautiful way of converting a time domain into a frequency domain. And with that view, this quantity limit t goes to infinity, e of expected value of xt of omega mod square over 2t is given by the symbol xt of omega, sorry, sx of omega. So and this capital X indicates that sxx of omega belongs to the random process x of t. Okay, this x indicates it belongs to which random process. Okay, therefore your x squared bar is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of minus infinity to plus infinity sxx of omega times d omega. Replace this guy by sxx of omega, where omega is given limit t goes to infinity, expected value of xt of omega square over 2t. And if you look at carefully, the unit of xt of omega is energy per hertz, right? That's what we already said. What is the unit of this? Energy per hertz. And if I divide by 2t, then what will happen? By 2t, then it is going to be energy per time per hertz. So energy per time is power per hertz. Power per hertz is called power density. Okay, because the expectation operation, this guy will not change the unit. Okay, therefore the unit of this guy, the entire guy, is power per hertz. So this whole thing has a dimension of power per unit hertz. So therefore sxx of omega is called power density. Or to make it more specific, that power is not being computed in the time domain. Okay, so here we are computing the power in the frequency domain. So you call sxx of omega as the power spectral density. In short, we say PSD if you take the initials of this power spectral density. Or in the context of random time functions, it may simply be called the spectral density. Either you can call power density or spectral density or power spectral density. Note a few points I want to mention here. So whenever you mention spectral density in the context of discussions on random variables or random time functions, it shall mean power spectral density. Okay, and this is the relationship x squared bar equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of sxx omega times d omega. Okay, and this guy indicates average power, and this is a relationship that allows one to analyze linear systems with a random time functions as an input. So you have a system, linear systems, and the input is random time functions, and output you will get something. Therefore, it allows us to evaluate exactly as the same function h of omega. What is h of omega? That is the Fourier transform of your impulse response of the system. Okay, so h of omega equal to h of t times e to the minus j omega t times dt, where h of t is the this is for linear time invariant term, deterministic signals. When now it is as if the function h of omega is now taken over by sxx of omega. Okay, so note sxx of omega is not the Fourier transform. Okay, but what about h of omega? H of omega is the Fourier transform of h of t. So therefore you can think of sxx of omega as if like the Fourier transform of as if like h of omega, even though it is not the Fourier transform of some other quantity. Okay, what is sxx of omega? Sxx of omega is the magnitude squared of xt of omega, then divided by 2t, and limit take expectation divided by 2t and take expectation. Okay, divided by 2t and take the expectation. So this artifice allows us to use sxx of omega exactly the same way as h of omega in non-random signals. Like in deterministic signals we used h of omega, and random signals we use sxx of omega, and the relation between sxx of omega and the Fourier transform of your truncated signal is this one. Summary: first, the average power x squared bar is nothing but average power. Okay, so the average power in a random process x of t is given by the time average of its second momentum. Okay, therefore x squared bar equal to limit t goes to infinity 1 over 2t x squared of t minus t2 plus t times dt. You take expectation operation here. So this is a time average. Time average operation we use the letter small a. xt. And for a process which is at least WSS, then wide descent stationary, then x squared of t is equal to x squared bar, and this is constant for WSS, wide descent stationary process. Second, this power x squared bar can be obtained by frequency domain integration. That frequency domain integration is 1 over 2 pi integral minus infinity to plus infinity. and this formula is called power formula. So that's it. The very important crucial point is where we assume that this one. This point is very important point. Here we take the expected value of the truncated random process. So in the truncated random process, if the random process is stationary, then whether you take minus t2 plus t or minus 2t2 plus 2t or 0 to 2t, whatever the interval you take, that doesn't matter. You take that sample function, take that truncated random process, and if you try to the expected value for that, then it always gives x squared of t. Okay, so this is very intuitive thing, so you should remember that in order to understand this derivation part. So as I said, the random process is a collection of waveforms. You have infinite number of waveforms. You take only truncated waveform. Okay, truncate the random process. Originally the random process is x of t. Now you truncate, you will get xt of t, and then for this random process, if you find the expectation value, whether you take minus t2 plus t or some other value like minus 2t2 plus 2t, it doesn't matter, it always gives the squared value like this. So that is a substitution we put it here. So that is an important point, so that please try to remember that. So try to digest yourself. So remaining rest are simply continuation of your random process course. Okay, so let me stop at this point. Thank you.